Joe Rogan has officially responded to criticism that his UFC commentary is biased. Speaking on a recent episode of JRE, Rogan says he always tries to be very fair and respectful.
How do you deal with that when people like have a problem with your commentary and all that?
I try to be very fair, always with my commentary, and I'm also very respectful. Like even if you think that my commentary was biased or one way or another, you'll never think I'm disrespectful because I try to, unless someone's doing something dirty. Like there was a girl in this last fight, she was trying to gouge Jillian Robertson's eye out. Like she had her in a rear naked choke, and this girl Kashweda stuck her fucking thumb deep into her eyeball. It's horrible. That I'd be disrespectful.
Stop cheating.
If you remember earlier this year in March when Jan Blachowicz fought Israel Adesanya at UFC 259, many fans and fighters felt that DC and Rogan were biased against Blachowicz. Fighters like Marvin Vettori and Justin Gaethje even called him out on Twitter. But now recently, Sean O'Malley has a problem with Rogan's commentary. Speaking on his podcast, The Timbo Sugar Show, O'Malley said he rewatched his fight against Holly and Paiva at UFC 269 and couldn't stand Rogan's commentary.
Again, I'm gonna comment on the commentary, dude. They said, I don't know why when you're going to fight Sean, you don't throw more leg kicks. He clearly had a problem in the Cheeto fight with the leg kicks. What do we?
That's what
you can just say anything on the mic. Well, even, I mean, everyone knows how much I fucking love Joe Rogan. I say it after my fights. And it's just, I'm like, okay, he might have watched that Cheeto fight one time while he was sitting there, and then his opinion is what he saw right there. But dude, he got one kick that hit my nerve, and then the fight was just, he did land a couple good leg kicks after that, but I was on one leg, and I still pieced him up. It's like, it's just, if you're going to commentate and bring up that fight every single time I fight, go watch it and form a knowledgeable opinion about it, and then watch my last fights and don't say that I don't know how to counter a leg kick or defend a leg kick. I feel like I'm one of the most elite strikers ever, and I feel disrespected when they're like, he just doesn't know how to do it. It's like, what are you talking about, dude?
What are your thoughts on Joe Rogan's commentary, and have you ever felt that he was biased when calling a fight? Moving on to Dana White, who has officially denied Jake Paul from fighting Jorge Masvidal or Nate Diaz. Speaking on the Fight with Teddy Atlas podcast, Dana goes off on Jake Paul for wanting to fight guys under UFC contract.
Is there any scenario in which you allow Nate Diaz or Masvidal to fight Jake Paul?
No. You notice he wants to fucking fight everybody that's not in his weight class. You know, guys that are older and all this bullshit. Go find a boxer. Go hump somebody else's leg, you goofball. You asked me about Jake Paul fighting guys over here. I wanted to tell you, I got a challenge for Jake Paul. So this guy keeps saying that I'm a cokehead, right? He can randomly cocaine test me for the next 10 years if I can randomly steroid test him for the next 2.
Speaking of Jake Paul, a report came out that Paul vs. Woodley 2 underperformed and sold 65,000 pay-per-view buys. A very terrible number considering that the first Paul vs. Woodley fight did 500,000. Jake Paul denied the reports, saying it was false on Twitter, but he did admit that it wasn't his best business night. Jorge Masvidal clowned Jake Paul for the pay-per-view flop and tells him to never mention his name again. Moving on to some quick news stories, Khamzat Chimaev said on Instagram Live that he will be flying out to Vegas and will discuss with the UFC for what's next for him.
Who is next? Everyone is next. You is next, brother. I don't know who is next. I fly tomorrow to Vegas and we'll, inshallah, smash somebody. Of course we're gonna smash everybody. What do you think, brother?
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson said on his podcast that he has no plans to retire anytime soon.
I'll be back, man. I'll be back better. I can't believe people are saying that I'm old and I should retire. I feel like there's a lot. Like, I can sit here and I feel like people that do retire, when they sit down in the chair, they just feel like they should retire. Like, just the body's beat up. But when I sit here and I'm sitting down in this chair, like, I don't feel, I feel great. I feel fine. I feel better than I was 5 years ago.
Dan Hooker posted on his Instagram story that he wants to move down to featherweight and wants to fight Brian Ortega next. Kevin Lee feels that Francis Ngannou holding out on the UFC will shake up the fighting industry forever. Speaking on Sirius XM Fight Nation Radio, Kevin Lee says he spoke to Ngannou recently about his contract situation.
It's funny. I mean, me and him were just talking for maybe like an hour yesterday. I mean, we trained at the same gym and everything, right? So he has some interesting views on and the man's solid. I mean, he's the heavyweight champ for a reason. They can't break him. They can't seem to shake him. And I think right now he's locked in and he's totally focused on Suriel Gan. And after this fight, I do feel like he's gonna shake up the industry. He's gonna change it a lot. And you know, I'm happy to be on that wave. And I told him this months ago, you know, when they did that whole interim title, I think that was back in like August or something. Yeah, I told him that months ago. I'm like, man, whatever wave you on, I'm on. Like, so with him, I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck about none of this. Like, if they're gonna do that to you as the heavyweight champ, I know what they'll do to me. I kind of spoke that into the universe a couple months ago. They'll do it to me. But I still stand behind that. I still stand behind the words. So we'll see how this whole thing plays out.
Moving on, Francis Ngannou shares his thoughts on the footage circling around of him sparring with Suriel Gan. In a video uploaded to his YouTube channel, Ngannou says these clips were uploaded to make him look bad. Francis calls it manipulation from his former coach who uploaded these clips.
I mean, like when I saw that footage, my first reaction was laughing. You know, because I know exactly what's happened at those training section. But this is the thing, when they want to like do some highlight, they always like choose the part of the video that they use. And they have a lot of videos like that. Because at the time, they were filming our training section to promote him, his fight and everything. So there was a lot of footage from those few training sections. But a lot of them will never come out. And I know for a fact that they will never come out. It's about to make him look better and make me look bad, you know, to prove that he's the man. Well, how easy is that to manipulate people, which they are really good at manipulation. But at the end of the day, as I said, we both know, everyone knows for a fact. Like, I can't lie to you that Siriel doesn't have a skill. He's pretty good, and I knew that from day one. He's really good, and just gonna get better because he just moved from kickboxing to MMA.
Belal Muhammad has called out Leon Edwards for a rematch on the UFC London card in March next year. Speaking to MMA Fighting, Belal Muhammad says he feels he's done enough to jump the line and fight for the title next instead of Leon Edwards based on the opponents he has beaten.
It pushes me better because if he's going to sit there and wait, and like you said, Usman, he's an active champion. He deserves some time off to be with his daughter and his family and things like that. So he's earned that. So if he wants to wait till next summer, if I get one more big name win in before Leon, I literally fought 8 times. Well, Leon's fought 3 times in the last 2 or 3 years. I'm the one pushing. I'm the one being active. Dana White says he likes active fighters. He doesn't like these people waiting. So if I go out there, I get a big win, I think I earned definitely a skip in front of him. I feel like I've earned a skip in front of him already just based off of the level of opponent I fought. I fought Maya and Wonderboy back-to-back, and he's fought who did he beat? Dos Anjos and Nate Diaz, who are both 55ers. So it's like, if you really think he hasn't fought any ranked 170 pounders, it doesn't make any sense for me, but I'm not going to sit there and cry about it. I'm just going to get back on the horse and keep fighting. Like I said, I think he's playing his politics game. He knows that I'm a bad matchup for him. And I think before he had that excuse, oh, well, he's number 12. It doesn't make no sense for number 3 to fight number 12. Now I'm number 5. Now what's your excuse? Now there's a card coming to London. Why not?